Hello champions and future champions, hello chessmod family. GM Gabuzyan is here with you, and let's get started with our daily lesson. Today's topic is gonna be spoiling pawn structure. We have a very interesting middle game here and it's white to move. I'll recommend you to pause the video and think how will you be playing for white in this position. So here, let's take a look at the pawn structure. We are having two pawn islands on the queen side and king side, and black has a long one from a6 to e6 pawns and as well g7, h7. So none of the sides is having any weak pawn for now and as well weakened island. If white now is making some quiet move, let's say going for some knight d4 in the center, black will be able to take. And after queen d4 with e5, black will be even strengthening the pawn structure, cause now this is a huge pawn chain protecting each other. Black is no longer gonna be having any weaknesses. As well, white rook on e1 is becoming a little more passive cause it's now stuck on pawn on e4, so it's not doing a lot. And this position would be more or less equal. For that reason, in the first position, white is making e5 move. What's the idea? We are trying to split black pawns from each other. As well, after takes and knight e5, we are creating a weakness on x6. So, instead of allowing d6 and d5 pawn chain, now we are leaving lonely pawn on e6, which will be a huge target of an attack, and as well, we increased black's pawn islands amount from 2 to 3. And you may ask me now, what's the value of having many pawn islands for opponent? Obviously, it's not applying to all the cases, but very often when we have heavy pieces on the board, we are gonna get more subjects to an attack. And whenever pawns are located next to each other, they are able to protect each other. But whenever pawns are lonely and there are too many, our heavy pieces are gonna be getting more subjects to attack from different squares, different sides of the board. As well, whenever you have pawn islands, it's difficult to push your pawn, or whenever you are pushing, you are giving some weakened squares or you are weakening some territory in your position. For this reason, it's valuable to create and spoil your opponent's pawn structure. So black is having big problems here. Further again for white is gonna be easy as well. Let's say after takes and takes, white next moves are gonna be very simple. We are planning to attack this pawn on e6 as much as possible. White will be putting the queen and rook on an e file. Will be very reasonable to transfer this knight as well to some d4 or f4 squares and increase the pressure on pawn on e6. And in that case, all black pieces will also be taking very passive positions. So white will be gaining a huge advantage. To summarize this, we should be careful to moves like e5 whenever we're getting a chance to weaken and spoil our opponent's pawn chain. Let me now change this position for you. Here guys, you see an endgame with closed Sicilian pawn structure. It's black to move and looks like we're gonna have a very nice chances to spoil our opponent's pawn structure again. It's black to move, and you can be leaving your thoughts and ideas in the comments section below. GM Gabuzyan was here with you. Thank you for your likes, subscriptions and sharing this video with your friends. We appreciate it a lot. See you next time during our next daily lessons.